Have you ever wondered how Teachers Pay Teachers sellers consistently hit their monthly income goals and make it look so easy? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's not always easy, but you sure can do it too. And today, my guest on the channel is my dear friend, Naomi Meredith, and she's going to be sharing with you a few of her top tips on how to meet your monthly income goals as a Teachers Pay Teachers seller. And she does this all as a full time teacher. I can't wait for you to watch this episode, and I'm so glad you're here. Hey friend, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. I have the amazing Naomi Meredith to talk to us about how to reach your monthly income goals on Teachers Pay Teachers. Hi, Naomi.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
I'm so pumped that you're here because the members of my course from Zero to Cha-Ching got a private training with you. And that was so great that I wanted to have you on my YouTube channel so that you could give them a few of the tips that you shared with the course. But first, before we jump right in, can you introduce yourself to everybody?
Well, thanks for so much having me on this video. We were chatting before this, and you were telling me people loved it, and I had no idea because when on Zoom, everybody's on mute. So I'm glad the feedback was really good. So I think it'll be really fun to talk on here. So I'm Naomi Meredith. I am a former classroom teacher turned current K through 5 STEM teacher and coach. And when I'm not teaching during the day, K through 5 STEM, I also run my online business where I support teachers who are getting started in elementary STEM and create resources for them, courses, and have a podcast to help support their journey. So it's been a long journey to get to where I am today, which I'm sure we'll talk more about. But I just love supporting teachers in this up and coming world because STEM is a fairly new topic when it comes to the elementary space. And so I just really want to support them and be the cheerleader for them that I never had when I got started with my brand new room with brand new tools and zero curriculum. So I know how these teachers are feeling. So I am there for them and support them with my business and experiences.
And one of the most amazing things about your business is that you offer a free year-long plan to STEM educators that they can just grab from your website and it shows them exactly what they're supposed to do. So, how did you come up with that idea?
Man, I wish I could say it was like an easy thing, like, oh, wow, like this is what I'm going to do. I had different options before. So originally, my business was Marvelous Miss Meredith.
Oh.
It was super cutesy, and that was when I taught third grade. So I was like in this transition from changing my business name, switching it over to my name. My name's Naomi, not Meredith. So that was confusing also. But I kept saying like questions. People kept asking me, I was saying in Facebook groups, hey, what does your year look like? What does your plan look like? And like I mentioned, I was in a classroom that had zero curriculum, nothing. So I was creating my year long plan already and planning with standards, trying out different themes and methods. And so I figured I might as well create a year long plan. But not only that, everything is linked in that year long plan and all the standards that I do. So a teacher could be successful downloading my year long plan. They could see how I lay out the whole thing. But if they want to dive in deeper, they don't want to plan the lessons, they can click on all of the links and get the lessons that are relevant to them. So it's just a way to have a quick solution where teachers can visualize what a year would look like in STEM, but then I they can go deeper and take the next action where the lessons are already done for them, and all of them are in a growing bundle as well. So there's a few things being added, and I can update that. But it's just been really helpful for teachers and just in a lot of different avenues.
And I wanted to start with that because I think it's so genius what you did there by having such a great support for new STEM teachers or maybe even STEM teachers that have been doing it for a while. But everything leads back to all of your TPT products in that year long bundle. And I know we're going to get to that in a little bit, but I wanted to ask you a few questions so that my viewers could kind of learn a few of your secrets to how you have made some decent money on Teachers Pay Teachers while working full time. So my
Yes,
first
I'm
question,
excited.
yeah, me too, because your tips, I mean, I'm telling you, the people in my course were just like, she's amazing. How does she know all
Ah,
this
it's so
stuff?
sweet.
So you kind of mentioned your marvelous Miss Meredith, but how did you get started on TPT? Like where did that all begin for you?
When I first heard about TPT, I was in my undergrad, so I knew I was going to be a teacher. And there was some professors who were modeling lessons, and they were current teachers, and they had these really cool things that they were showing us. And we're like, "Where did you get this?" They're like, "TPT." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like that is so cool." So I had that in the back of my brain. And my first year teaching, we had to create so much, and we had to turn in our lesson plans, our curriculum. As teachers know, didn't have everything that we needed. So my teammates and I created a lot of content for our students. And I realized that first year, end of my first year teaching, I could probably sell this on that website that I heard about. So I started randomly just posting things that I was using in my classroom. I was a second grade teacher at the time. And if you go there, none of that stuff's on there. It was, I made everything in Microsoft Word. It was super ugly. Like the fonts were, it was like I would go to defont.com, which don't do this, but I would get like fonts that were so cutesy. You can't even read them. It was just a disaster. And I thought they were super cute at the time. So I realized it quickly I love to create. So I always kept posting things in my store, trial and error, no method to the madness, complete chaos with what was posted. But I really got started finding my niche towards the end. I switched districts and switched schools by choice when I was teaching third grade, and I fell in love with hands on learning and technology. So I really started zoning in on kind of what a niche was, what my brand was. I was taking courses at the time, online courses about business and TPT. And so my products have started evolving into being things that were more technology based. So helping support students and teachers of integrating technology. So that was what I named my store Marvelous Miss M. um, so super cute. And then that actually helped me get my job. So when I was going into K through 5 STEM, I had a website and everything at the time. I started blogging. And so they actually looked at my website. So helped me get my K through 5 STEM job. But then really once I was in K through 5 STEM, like, oh, I think this is my thing. This is my niche. And I still would say elementary STEM is my thing. So I really started creating everything about that with some integrated technology because that's what STEM is also. So it really has evolved over the years. So you just really have to jump right in because I feel like teachers now have more guidance when it comes to their stores and thinking about a niche when they get started. But back then, no, it was like all over the place. My stuff looked like everybody else's. It was like I said, chaos. So it's much better now.
Oh, definitely. And so you would say that having a niche is super important for your TPT store.
Oh, absolutely. Now, like the more niche, the better. I know my niche is pretty broad when you're thinking about their grade levels, K through 5 STEM. However, thinking about someone in my position or as a teacher, you do teach all of those grades. So, in a way, mine is very niche down because it's for a very specific audience. And of course, a classroom teacher can use my products as well, but I'm really targeting those K through 5 STEM teachers who also don't have a curriculum or they need some supports. They don't have time to plan 6 lessons a day. So that's where I step in. So if you're getting started or you want to do this, really zone in on a grade level or two, a subject if you can. Be very, very specific because you're more likely to stand out.
Yes, and I heard you mention learning standards too, and we both know that when we have learning standards tethered to our products, they also perform better, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they totally perform better. That was a big thing too. I have some fun stuff in there, of course. I have some bulletin boards and things like that because we know that's how elementary teaching is. But as a whole, I'm really very, very specific when it comes to standards. That's in my year-long plan, and really valuing that because that was a trend also I've seen in elementary STEM where not all teachers plan with standards. They're just throwing resources out there like, let's play with robots, let's play with Legos. And that's really not my philosophy of STEM anyway. So, really, my philosophy planning with standards and being really mindful and promoting higher level thinking really comes through in my products.
It does. I've looked through your store quite a bit and it
Uh,
definitely shines through on all of your stuff. And I do agree that if you're not a STEM teacher, but you wanted to try some STEM lessons, that your store would be great. But I also think if you were a STEM teacher, it would be like your total roadmap to the entire year. Having that done for you would be worth every penny to me.
Oh, totally. And I teach it all to my students. So not everyone has that opportunity. Don't feel like you have to be in the classroom either to get started with the store, but it's also really helpful too. I've tried all the things with my students. I've seen what works well. I'm teaching it again. I'm making a lot of modifications. So it's really things that I would teach my own students. Like these are things that I know work. There's value in it. I'm not just making something up out of nowhere. So really think about your experiences and how you know students will interact with the content or things you've done in the past. And you just have to make it look nice and make it work for other teachers to do it. But that's really helpful too.
I totally agree. And when you teach it yourself, then you can find your mistakes and get the kinks worked out before you post it. That's one of my favorite things about making things for my own students. And it helps
I've
you learn the
also
curriculum too.
Oh, it does. It helps you learn it, and I've even had students help me create things. There was a project we were working on. We were testing their design, and I noticed it was a checklist for their project. So they had their guests and well, they actually just had to check off what happened. And the students were actually drawing on what I had made for them and they were adding in their own categories. So I was asking them about it and they were telling me why they were doing this. So I actually modified that part of the lesson based on what students were drawing on there. So that was pretty cool too. And it really made the product a lot better.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that. Okay, so you've given us a few tips, but I would really love to know like when you started to see some real sales come in to your store and what do you think contributed to that?
So when I first got started, it was towards the end of my first year teaching, and I made $1 or so. And whoever you are out there, thanks for believing in me. I hope it was helpful for you at the time. So that was very nice of you.
Oh,
It was very sporadic. What I was making, some months bigger than others. When I made $20 one month, I was so excited. I still get excited about that. I mean, I think it's a big deal when people are investing in you. But when it became consistent each month, when I was seeing about the same amount each month, that was when I was being consistent and figured out what my niche was. So I told you I was very sporadic with what I was posting, but it was when I was teaching third grade, and that's when I was finding integrating technology. All my products were being centered around that. I started playing around with product lines and figuring out what that was. Bundling kind of was a thing, not really. It was you had to do a backhand version, a back way of how to make a bundle. But I was really becoming more consistent, kind of figuring out what my brand was and my colors. And so, like with that consistency with my niche and the products, that's when my sales were consistently growing. So I kept at it, kept going through the years. And like I said, once I got into STEM, I really was figuring out my niche. And so from there, too, I never called my business, and I call it a business now, but at the time I called it my hobby. So it wasn't really until 2020 I really called it my business. I've always dabbled in it. I thought it was just something fun, but really it was 2020 when things shut down. We're at home. And I really started diving into it even more and became even more obsessed and really calling it my business and being more thoughtful and systematic about things. And so it doesn't come overnight. It is a slow game. Mind you, I started this in 2013. Some of you might have faster growth than me.
right.
And I'm still growing. Like there's so many things I want to continue to learn, but this was not something overnight. Like, I think some people think it's a quick get rich strategy, and here and there it is for some people. But this is a long game. Like, even just creating a product that works, creating the file formats that work, how to talk to people, how to market. Like, there's so, it's like a whole spider web of things. And I know you know that too, Molly. Like,
Oh, yeah.
There's so many things and it's so much fun and it can get overwhelming, but really focusing in on the products that you're making, what will work well, your niche again. But that's when things really started clicking when I did start treating it more like a business and being more consistent and likewise more consistent sales.
I love that you said treating your business like a business and not a hobby anymore. I think that's where I started to see more rapid growth as well. And then any of the people I've worked with inside of my course, the same thing. And you have to be committed to lifelong learning with it because, like you said, things change all the time. And if you want to keep making sales, anything with marketing, it's going to change. There are things that stay the same, but we have to like move with the times. And so if you're committed to that, you will see sales, but some people just want it so quick and they give up on it.
Oh, totally. And like I said, it's just not like creating the product is one part of it. Like you need to have
Yes.
product. You need to have something to sell. Like you do. You're not going to make money. But then from there, like learning what email marketing is, creating a blog or website, having a YouTube channel or podcast. I'm crazy and have both. Social media, like there's so many other things and I love it. It's super fun. But starting with the products is like a great start because a lot of people will give up after that too. You just got to keep going on. So you need to have products, or if you're selling courses, you have to have something. You have to have something to sell. Like if Target was empty, we wouldn't go. Maybe I'd still go. It'd be pretty, but wouldn't go if the shelves are empty. You're like, I'm not going to that Target. They don't have anything. I'm going to the other Target
Right.
across town because they have all the better stuff.
Totally. Okay, love all that. So, if you were giving tips to someone that's just starting out or that really wants to make serious income and is ready for the next steps, what would be a few tips that you would give them?
So, if you're starting out now, you are in a great time to start out. It is definitely not too late because there's just more information out there. I feel like when getting started, especially if you're wanting to sell your teaching resources. So, I would say, of course, the biggest thing for me, which there's more opportunities with this, is planning for bundles and product lines. So, it's a lot like backwards planning. So, what is the end goal? So, for example, if I am creating a video and audio bundle of resources, that is my end goal. So I want to create a bundle of those things, and then I can list out the products that I would like to have inside. And then you make those things, check them off, and put them in your store. You could sell them separately, sell them as a bundle. But bundles have really been a game changer for me, and that we're planning backwards instead of just posting random things. Also, too, customers like bundles. Like, even think about the holiday season. You like to go into a store when there's a cute little basket of things like a lip gloss, a lotion, a hairbrush. It's all bundled up and everything matches. We like that as teachers. We like everything to go together. Like, oh, I can do all these different lessons about video and audio, K through 5, and there's a collection of resources in here. So it just makes the whole customer experience so much better and it makes your planning better. So definitely recommend planning for bundles. With that, really stay within your niche. You can be multi passionate. If you really search in my store, I have something in there that is not related to my niche at all. I don't know if you've ever heard of Battle of the Books.
Oh, yes.
So I used to do Battle of the Books as a classroom teacher, and I read the books. We write 100 questions for each book. So I have those in my store because I know they're helpful. Super random, but you really need to stay in your niche and really focus in on what are teachers' pain points within that niche. How can you solve that problem with your lessons? Thinking about your bundles again, but really stay within that. Stay laser focused. Don't worry about what other people are doing in your niche. I know there's other people who make STEM stuff. I know that, but I don't worry about that because they're not me. I create resources how I think that they work, and I have a different
Right.
style, and not everybody likes everybody else's styles. People like having choices. So really stay focused on what you're doing because you know your niche best. And then again, that consistency. There are days I am not feeling creative. I don't want to do it. I just want to lay on the couch and read 100 books. And it's okay to take breaks, but you really do want to stay consistent. You don't want your audience to forget about you. whether it is creating your products and eventually that marketing piece. So it all goes together. It's like running a marathon. Like you're not going to sprint right away. You're going to die out. You're going to tire out. So you just really need to take that pace and you will learn along the way, but keep at it because there are times it's challenging, but it's definitely worth it because you're impacting other teachers and students that you may never know. It's pretty amazing.
Yes, I love that. Today I was talking about our classroom pet hamster, and the kids were so excited because he was out and just moving around his cage.
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding you. Like a second later, I got a buzz on my watch that someone had bought my classroom pet hamster product. And that one has been a really big seller for me. I made it for my own kids, but I put it in
Oh.
my store. So I'm just piggybacking on what you said that like you just never know who's going to need your stuff and like what an impact it can make in their classroom and in their life.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Like, I don't know if you tell your students, but I'll tell my students, like, you guys, this lesson that I'm teaching, there's a teacher who made a video about the same lesson that we're doing. I don't know where she lives, but the kids are doing it right now. And they thought the kids thought it was really cool.
That
Like,
is really cool.
I know. So, like, I would tell I mean, it's up to you. I don't know if you want your students to. I tell my students because I want them to see I'm not just a teacher, but that's just me. But it's cool, like, knowing other kids are, like, using what you made out of your brain. That's, like, mind-blowing to me.
I love that you said that because now that I'm in fifth grade, we do a whole unit on basically how to run a small town. They get a job, and when we go to a
Oh,
place in another town, and they get to run a business for a day. And I
ah,
briefly mentioned to them that I own two businesses, and they were like, "What?" And so I'm like, I think
yeah,
I'm going to show them my Teachers Pay Teachers store and do the same thing. Like, people bought this hamster thing and they're using it right now for their classroom.
yeah.
They have a little hamster just like we do.
Yeah, you should. I don't know, it's just, like, cool, like, it's just so cool, like, how the digital world just opens up these opportunities. Like, you know how when we were kids, and we say this to our students, there's gonna be jobs that don't exist when you're starting working. Well, look at us. We're talking over a video interview about
And
our
yeah,
digital businesses. Like, we
and
didn't
our
know this was
teachers
a
in
thing.
our teachers in elementary school, like you're saying, they didn't even have email in the 90s. I mean, the early
Mhm,
90s. So like the fact
mhm.
that we're doing this as teachers now, you're right. Like it's so cool that we could do run a business online and that you can make money helping other teachers with the resources that you created to use for your own students.
Oh, totally. It's so cool. Like, really think it's so cool.
So, so cool. Well,
Yeah.
Naomi, I've loved getting to chat with you, and I know my viewers are gonna love all your tips. And just another little secret is that she has a whole training inside of From Zero to Cha-Ching. So you can always comment on this channel and let me know if you'd like the link because I would love for you to join us inside of there and get all of her best secrets that she didn't share here on this channel. But Naomi, where can people find you? Where are you most active?
So for sure, I love me some Instagram. So you can find me at Naomi Meredith _. You can also find me on my website, naomimeredith.com. And I also have a fairly new podcast. I think it's almost 6 months old now at the time of this recording, which is exciting. But my podcast is the Elementary STEM Coach. So just helping teachers over there. And then I have so many places. And then YouTube as well. You can find me on YouTube, Naomi Meredith. So all the places. Reach out if you have questions. I love to chat about this stuff, or if you're looking for STEM ideas, I got you covered.
I'll put all of the links to find you in the description box below and give us a shout on Instagram. Go find the reel that Naomi posted when she and I met each other over the summer
Yes.
and tell us what your favorite tip from this video and I will send you a discount or something to make your day if you do that because we would love to hear from you.
Oh, we would love that.
All right, thanks so much Naomi and I can't wait to chat with you in real life soon.
Thank you.